So grade 10 physics, we have got two parts: optics, electricity. Electricity means electricity and electromagnetism. So initially, allow me 10 minutes to have a talk on this topic. Why? Because that's very important. What you will study here in grade 10 CBSE is electricity and current. Okay. If you ask me, this is a porridge sort of a chapter. hodgepodge करके बना दिया है. Proper planning नहीं हुआ इस chapter को बनाने के लिए. There is no proper planning. Problem that comes out from this no proper planning is that this topic you will not study in grade 11. You last studied this topic in grade 8 where there was a little bit of electricity, electroscope and all, which was very toy level. What you will study now also is toy level, but आपको toy लगेगा नहीं, आपको hard लगेगा. क्यों hard लगेगा वो भी बता दूंगा. आप आगे का पिक्चर देखिए पहले. This topic is going to come in grade 12 and in 12 this is going to be 80% of physics. 80%. Even in entrance, this portion will have lot of emphasis. Okay. Now, when this will come for 80% in 12, it comes in a deadly manner. How much deadly? My pastime hobby is electricity and all. So I have a basic background of it. But when it comes to do the chapter, even अच्छे से पढ़ना पड़ता है. So at grade 10, the level is very low. But don't try to mug up and solve problems. Understand things perspective, because in 11 you will not study it. You will go and study it in grade 12 where you will also have the load of board to you. Board भी का भी load रहेगा. In grade 12 we have got NCERT 2 books of physics. The first book of physics is all electricity only. ठीक है? And this part knowing is very important. You have chapter 1 and chapter 2. There is a 3. And then I'll say another 4, 5, whatever it is. These two chapters are studied under something called electrostatics. बताएंगे सब धीरे धीरे. इसके बाद आएगा आपका current and electricity. Then we will have something called alternating currents. Then we will have electromagnetic waves. ऐसे करके बहुत बड़ा यूनिट है. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज अ बिग यूनिट इन वेदर यू आर स्टडिंग इन कैम्ब्रिज, IB, CBSE और इवन इन अब्रॉड. इट्स अ बिग यूनिट and it involves extensive calculus mathematics when you go to grade 12. So first is topic is tough, plus the mathematical component will be also super tough. Shall I reduce the fan? It's okay. Okay. Now when we talk about electrostatics, just remember one thing. We'll come back to grade 10 very quickly. We'll talk about charges in this chapter. Charges are at rest. Statics. Charges will be at rest when we will study this chapter electrostatics. इसको हम 10 में भी पढ़ेंगे. Any school has started this topic? Not yet. Okay. This charge has to move. So in this chapter, the charge will move, but will move with uniform velocity. That means there will be no acceleration. The thing that will be born will be known as current. Current मतलब कोई चीज बहना, charge बहेगा, लेकिन charge will move with uniform velocity. When you come to this chapter, the charge will move with acceleration. Waves are created. That's why in your mobile phone you have an accelerator. The charge has to be in your microwave oven. You have a magnetron. That is the heart of the microwave. You have an accelerator. Or when you do an MRI, you get waves out of it. That's why they do not allow you any sort of magnetic. The charge will be accelerated. All these come at a very big blow to you in grade 12. समझ में नहीं आता है. बहुत बच्चे पढ़ते जाते हैं, ये सब कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं समझते हैं. अभी इतना डीप में जाना नहीं है. लेकिन जब आप 10th में इस चीज को पढ़ेंगे, प्लीज apply your knowledge to solve problems. This chapter will be very numerical intensive also. Not like your 1 by f equal to 1 by v. I think we will have not less than 11 to 13 formulas. Remembering does not become so easy, but is very easy if you understand the concept. Okay, we'll have a lot of formulas. Now the third thing. Now there is a generation issue also with you all with this chapter. See, when we were in school, whether it was a boy or a girl, whether you like electricity and electronic projects and hobbies or not, there is to be one period called SUPW. socially useful productive work, which we call, in which boys as such like we are also taught how to knit and how to stitch. So the trouser of jeans that I'm wearing right now, denim, the original length does not match my height. So if you see, this is trimmed by me only, just like the way it comes manufactured. ऐसा नहीं कि काट के कर दो. Denim has got a different shade right at the bottom. That should not be lost, otherwise the look goes away. So we have been taught this. We also know how to do buttonhole. We also know how to do this. This is called hemming. ये आपको नहीं पढ़ाया गया. Like girls in our class also knew how to do single point wiring, double point wiring, what is series, what is this. तो थोड़ा सा basic knowledge रहता है. आपके लिए ये कैसा रहेगा? You will be learning how to drive a car without ever sitting on the steering of the car. That's why this chapter comes as a big pain for everyone. Are you understanding? A driver has never read an illiterate driver has never read the manual of, say, Kia Motors, but he knows how to drive. You are opposite. You will read the entire manual of Kia Motors, but will never sit in the car. So I'll leave it to you. If you ask me this topic, like when I used to study it in grade 10 and grade 12, many things comes naturally to me. Basic sense, I get to know, yeah, ये गलत नहीं होगा, because we have worked with it. आपको एक बल्ब भी जलाना नहीं आता है. Don't take it in any other wrong sense. I'm saying if I give you batteries or wires and this, you don't even know how to light the bulb, how much wattage bulb will be there, which type of wire we should use, घर में रहेगा कि नहीं रहेगा, ये इंटरेस्ट भी नहीं रहा है और किसी ने किया नहीं है. तो बहुत ध्यान दीजिए इस चैप्टर में. ठीक है, शुरू करते हैं. So initial part, first part will be little bit of grandma talks and all about this. So the first concept that we study in this chapter is about charges. Like mass is a fundamental property, charge is also a fundamental property of matter. This is a fundamental property. मतलब अगर मैटर है तो मैटर में चार्ज होता ही है. अगर मैटर है, so matter will always have charge. It's a fundamental property. If you are a person, you definitely have a DNA strand in your body. Are you getting it? So why it is like this? Let's say this is matter. This is matter. What did you learn? Matter is composed of atoms. And inside atoms, what do you have? You have got three subatomic particles, the electron, the protons, and the neutrons. In this chapter, these two are of importance for us. This is neutral, so he doesn't bother me. The electron is an entity which carries a negative charge. The proton is an entity which carries a positive charge. This much we know. So a lot of studies were first conducted when atomic physics was being studied. People did studies with an electron and they brought a proton. Okay, mind you, the mass of electron is different, the mass of proton is different. An electron is very light. An electron's mass is 1 by 1840 times the mass of a proton. बहुत हल्का होता है. However, in this case, they found that there is an attractive force between the two. Let's say there is an attractive force F1 between the two. Then they brought an electron and an electron, and then they found that there is a repulsive force F2. However, they find that these two forces in terms of their magnitude are exactly equal to each other. Magnitude means, I am now drawing it like this. Magnitude are exactly equal. The attractive force and the repulsive force in terms of their values are exactly equal. This is an attractive force, this is a repulsive force, but the value is same. I have to be same. Otherwise, that you will study in grade 12. Okay, they found that the forces are exactly same. First thing that comes into our mind, that means is, whatever is this force is not due to mass. देखो grade 9 में आपने एक force पढ़ा था, that was the gravitational force, F equal to G m1 m2 by r square. Your 10th grade does not talk about all these things. But if you don't know these things, you will just rectify what is there. This is called gravitational force between two particles. It was dependent upon the mass. When you go to grade 12, this force will also be very similar to it. It will be also some constant K, Q1, Q2 by R square. These are the product of the charges. ऐसे लॉस को हम कहते हैं इनवर्स स्क्वायर लॉ. ये आपने 9 में पढ़ा, ये आप 12 में पढ़ेंगे. अभी 10 में पढ़ना नहीं है आपको. Just for your understanding. So two electrons show an attractive force. An electron and a proton shows an attractive force. Electron shows a repulsive force. The forces were found same. So man's eagerness then goes and he says, let us put one proton and proton. They found that again proton and proton also repulse, and that is a force F3, and this F3 is also same with them. समझ में आ रहा है? That means the force is contributed, this is a constant, this is a constant. It is contributed by the charges only, which means we get one conclusion, that if you bring electron and an electron, we get a repulsive force. That means the type of charge on an electron and the type of charge on another electron must exactly be of the same order, because people knew like charges repel. When you bring a proton and a proton, you still find that the charges are repulsive. Now, still now you don't get, two things that you get from here is that since this is an electron and this is an electron, the value of the charge here and the value of the charge here should be exactly same. And the value of the charge here and the value of the charge here should be exactly same. That means both of them have some type of charges. These two forces becoming same means one thing I get to know, magnitude of value of charge here and magnitude of value of charge here is same. What I have not addressed till now is nature of charge. However, if I bring one from here and one from here, they start attracting each other. देखो फिर से समझो, two electrons repel each other with a force. Let that force be 5. ये इलेक्ट्रॉन में जितना चार्ज है इसमें भी उतना ही रहेगा ना, इसमें भी उतना ही रहेगा, होना ही है, दोनों सेम इलेक्ट्रॉन है, इसमें जितना चार्ज इसमें उतना चार्ज, एंड दे आर repelling each other with 5, say 5. Very good. Two protons also have the same charge along with them, they also repel each other with 5. एक चीज तो पता चल गया कि इलेक्ट्रॉन में जो चार्ज है और प्रोटॉन में जो चार्ज है वैल्यू वाइज तो सेम है. अब दूसरी बात आती है, क्या दोनों, एंड बोथ आर रिपेलिंग ईच अदर व्हेन दे आर मेड टू फाइट विथ ईच अदर. नाउ वी नीड टू सी वेदर देयर नेचर इज सेम और नॉट. सो वी ब्रॉट वन इलेक्ट्रॉन एंड वी ब्रॉट वन प्रोटॉन. नाउ द अट्रैक्शन इज ऑल्सो 5, which means magnitude is same, but I am getting an attractive force, which means nature must be opposite. Conclusion समझ में आ रहा है ना? Nature must be opposite. ये आपका 10 में नहीं है, ये ज्ञान जानना जरूरी है, वरना आप समझोगे कैसे? So nature must be opposite in them. And from there man started saying that charge is a fundamental property of matter, and these charges are of two types. ये सब जानने की अभी जरूरत नहीं है. And these charges are of two types. One is a positive charge and one is a negative charge. समझ में आया? One is a positive charge, one is a negative charge. And the charge is always quantized. What do you mean by the word? This charge is also quantized. Quantized means, quantized word comes from the small word called quanta. Quanta means discrete. Discrete. After passing grade 6, which class will you go? Can you go to 6.2, 6.3? ऐसा कोई class है? My child does not want to go to grade 7. Then the teacher will say, then let him be in grade 6. Can we put him in 6.1, 6.1? So charge is quantized and discrete means these charges are in integral multiple. Either you get one charge, एक और मिलेगा, आधा रोटी दीजिए, ज्यादा जगह, आधा नहीं है, लेना है तो एक और लो, 2 लो, 3 लो, थोड़ा कम कीजिए, आधा मेरे से ले लो, आधा नहीं, एक दे दो. Charges are quantized. So when you start adding charges, they can add only in integral numbers. 1 charge, 2 charge, 3 charge, 4 charge. If you reduce 4 charge, 3 charge, 2 charge, 4.8 ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. समझ में आया? What all did you learn so far? So all these are not there in your syllabus. In your syllabus, what is there? Let us write now. In our syllabus we have charges are fundamental property of matter. इसको पहले लिखते हैं, ठीक है? And these charges are found to be of two types: a positive charge and a negative charge. And the second thing that we understood is that charge is quantized. means the charge is n q type hai, where n can be 0, 1, 2, and it can be plus minus nq. Have you understood? Did you understand? N is a natural number. 0 means no charge, 1 charge, 2 charge, 3 charge, 4 charge, -1, -2, -3, -4, ऐसा ही होता है. प्लस माइनस क्यों दिया पता है ना? पॉजिटिव के लिए प्लस आएगा, नेगेटिव के लिए माइनस आएगा. क्या इतना चीज आपको क्लियर हुआ है? ठीक है. नाउ सेकंड, आफ्टर दिस द क्वेश्चन कम्स, हाउ डज द चार्ज लुक लाइक? क्या हमने इस चार्ज को देखा है? लाइक व्हेन वी से मास, मास को देखा है. मास इज समथिंग विच यू कंसेप्चुअलाइज. आई ब्रिंग टू बॉल्स, थोड़ा एक ही टाइप के, एक ज्यादा है तो आप बोलते हो उसमें मास ज्यादा है. इन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वन मोर इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इज, there is nothing that you will identify as charge. What we will study in this chapter, with whenever we have to talk about charge, is charge carrier. Something like the virus that is causing you some illness. You won't be able to see the virus. All you will see is that a ill Zoe, a ill Vivan, they are carrying that virus with them. इन्हीं को स्टडी करके वायरस को स्टडी करना है. हमने किसी ने वायरस को नहीं देखा है, बट वी नो वायरस इज एन एंटिटी. सो द चार्ज इज एन एंटिटी विच इज अ फंडामेंटल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ मैटर. द चार्ज इज ऑफ टू टाइप्स, प्लस एंड माइनस. चार्ज इज क्वांटाइज्ड, एंड द नेक्स्ट थिंग दैट वी गेट टू नो इज दैट we will have charge carriers. You all have studied about many charge carriers. Electrons are one type of charge carriers. Subatomic particles who are negatively charged, so they are charge carriers. ठीक है ना? Then protons are charge carriers. Subatomic particles which are having positive charge with them. Then cations are charge carriers. Ions which carry charge with them. Then anions भी होने चाहिए. Cl माइनस हो गया, NO3 माइनस हो गया, SO4 2 माइनस हो गया, Mg2 प्लस हो गया. These are all charge carriers. But when we are in physics, we will not bang our head with so many things. Our discussion will be very much constrained to only this particular fellow. तो सर इनको नहीं पढ़ेंगे, पढ़ेंगे. They will eat your head in chapter called electrochemistry, not in physics. You can't run away. You won't study this fellow that much. This fellow we will be studying in grade 11 chemistry, second chapter, atomic structure. You'll pull your head like this. Yes, थोड़ा देख लो कैसे रहा. आप पढ़ते थे ना Rutherford's planetary model. So what did Rutherford say? Rutherford said that the electron revolves around the nucleus. So electron is a negative charge, and you have a nucleus, proton, which has neutron से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. न्यूट्रॉन इसमें कुछ नहीं करता. न्यूट्रॉन इज न्यूट्रल. तो यहाँ पे क्या है? प्रोटॉन्स. हाउ मेनी प्रोटॉन्स? Whatever atom you have selected, atomic number. So Z. What is charge on a proton? Same as the charge on an electron. Z number of protons. Each proton carries the same charge as that of an electron. So the nucleus has a charge called Ze. We are not bothered about polarity. In physics, we don't study polarity that much. We just are worried about the force. If the polarities are different, which in this case is different, then the force is attractive. If the polarities are same, the force will be repulsive. That's the only thing. So here so this whole thing is a charge now. Charge carrier. How much of charges it is carrying? A lot of positive charge, which is equal to Ze. And this is equal to E. So there will be force of attraction. तो ये आपका दिमाग खाएगा chemistry में. In physics, we will be studying more about EEE. So have you got an idea about what is charge carrier? A charge carrier is an entity which can carry a charge. In physics, we will be studying more about electrons. Clear हुआ है यहाँ? ठीक है. Now, थोड़ा सा और देख के then chapter को शुरू करते हैं. When you study about electricity, which we will study in this chapter, there are three effects of electricity that we study. Three effects. The first one is known as heating effect, which we will study in this chapter. Electricity can cause heating, obviously geyser, heater, toaster, all these are heating effect. We will study this in physics. Electricity also has something called magnetic effect, calling bell and all other things. This we will study in physics and in our next chapter, electromagnetism. Electricity has one more effect which you studied in grade 8, chemical effects of current. This entire branch is studied under chemistry. We don't study it here. The question arises, why are you so stepmotherly with this one? Why did you send it to chemistry? There's a reason. When we talk about these two things, magnetic and electric field, let's say for example, हमारे घर में, now say our titanium tower. How old is our titanium tower? Our titanium tower is something around 12 years old. For last 12 years, electricity has been passing through copper wires. Have they changed? No. Another 12 years also they'll remain the same. Another 12 years also they'll remain the same. So when electricity passes through solids, solids means metals, no chemical reaction takes place. But if the electricity passes through a liquid, chemical reactions take place. Electrolysis हो जाएगा, electroplating हो जाएगा, कुछ भी हो सकता है. That's why it is studied under chemical effect. And a solid which allows electricity to pass through it, which will be our next discussion, is called a conductor. A liquid which allows electricity to pass through it is called an electrolyte. So ये part को हम पढ़ेंगे ही नहीं ये. And now you say, sir, will we study this in grade 10? Maybe in metals and metals little bit, but in grade 11, 2 chapters, grade 12, another 2 chapters. All redox reaction and everything will come under this study. ठीक है? So we got to know about charge carriers. आइए अब बात करते हैं एकदम हल्लू हल्लू topics. Now you'll see how toy level your subject is. We're going to talk about something called conductors. Okay, conductors. Conductors are substances that conduct electricity. Conduct electricity. So metals are supposed to be conductors, good conductors of electricity. So let us see what is happening in metals. If you look about bonds in chemistry, there is one type of bond called ionic bond. For example, sodium chloride, NaCl, plus and minus, a bond formed across two ions held by strong electrostatic force. Then you will find another bond called covalent bond. ये भी हम पढ़ेंगे chemistry में. Covalent bond is by sharing, CH4. Carbon needs 4, hydrogen, for each hydrogen needs 1. There are 4 hydrogens need 4, 1 carbon needs 4. Those are shared up. All electrons used up. All valence electrons used up. If you are having trouble to understand, look at carbon. Carbon has got 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are pairing with whom? Hydrogen. Hydrogen is, each of the hydrogen is bringing 1. So this is hydrogen, hydrogen brought 1. This hydrogen brought 1, and hydrogen has brought 1 electron. So hydrogen does not have any free electron in its outermost orbit. Neither does carbon have any free electron in its outermost orbit. No free electron. So no charge carrier. So no charge carrier. So this fellow will never conduct electricity. समझ में आ रहा है? This fellow will never conduct. ये पढ़ेंगे अभी धीरे धीरे. This fellow will not conduct electricity. लेकिन इसका केस देखो तो कैसा है? सोडियम. Sodium's electronic configuration is 281 and chlorine is 287. Sodium donates 1 electron to chlorine. So sodium becomes how much? 28. There are free electrons in the outermost, plus it gets a positive charge associated with it. And chlorine becomes 288. It takes the electronic configuration of argon. This takes the electronic configuration of neon. Charged particles. They'll conduct electricity. ये भी केमिस्ट्री में पढ़ते हैं, फिजिक्स में नहीं पढ़ना है. फिजिक्स में हम पढ़ेंगे कि सर मेटल में क्या होता है. तो ये दो थोड़ा आपको बता दिया. बॉन्ड्स कितने. One type of bond which in CBSE they don't teach you up till grade 10 is called metallic bond. And that bond is most contributing factor for metals to conduct. What is a metallic bond? So let's look a piece of metal. There's a piece of metal. There's a cross section of metal. ठीक है, एक मेटल का क्रॉस सेक्शन है. In metals, what is the property of metals? Metals lose electrons. Look at the group 1, they want to lose 1 electron. Group 2, they want to lose 2 electrons. How about group 3? They want to lose 3 electrons. Not group 3, group 13, they want to lose 3 electrons. Metal means I want to lose electron. So metals can never form covalent bond. Covalent means sharing. You are giving me electron. I don't want electron. Sharing is also owning something, right? Me and Aparna share this marker. I don't want marker. Don't share. Take it away. So metals can never form covalent bond. So in metals, what happens? All the atoms, say now this is a piece of copper. So you have got copper, copper, copper. All these copper atoms will actually lose their outermost electrons. Say copper becomes copper Cu2 plus. They are losing their outermost electrons. Now where does these electrons go? These electrons are all present out here. ऐसे हाँ free electrons की तरह present है. Let us try to understand them. First question: do we have a what do you call a wheelchair on every tower? Yes. Who paid money for the wheelchair? We. Can you bring it in your home and keep it? No. So that asset is a delocalized asset. It is not local to one family. Who owns it? We all own it. These electrons which were lost by the atoms, these electrons becomes a sort of, in course language we'll say, आवारा electron बन जाते हैं. They have no more touch with any of their parent. They are all delocalized. और ऐसे delocalize होने के बाद इन electrons को हम बोलते हैं delocalized electrons, right? Then we also call it cloud of electron. We also call it sea of electron. समझ में आया? Means there are all electrons, electrons, electrons. If you ask this electron, भैया तुम्हारे माँ बाप का नाम क्या? नहीं पता यार, पता नहीं, बचपन से ही घर के बाहर घूम रहा हूँ, हॉस्पिटल के बाहर छोड़ दिया था पैदा होते ही. तो ये इलेक्ट्रॉन्स का ना कैसा है, एक क्लाउड जैसा बना रहता है, ऐसा क्लाउड एक है. सो यू हैव अ नेगेटिव क्लाउड एंड दीस पॉजिटिव आयंस चपाक करके पकड़ के रखा है. यही मेटालिक बॉन्डिंग है. किसी भी इलेक्ट्रॉन को ये नहीं पता वो कौन से एटम से आया है. नाउ द स्ट्रेंज थिंग दैट हैपेंस इज, if you give an external electric current to this particular piece, all these electrons immediately, like you have seen that Mickey Mouse उसमें बोलता है ना, एक वो स्कूबी डू में, डॉगी कौन, आवारा, हमारे सारे माँ बाप है. They all get aligned in one direction. They all get aligned in one direction. These electrons get aligned in one direction and start to flow, giving rise to current. Flow of charges is current. As I told you, a charge has to flow for current to happen. So let us go back to conductors. What are conductors? Conductors are substances which conduct electricity. Why do they conduct electricity? They should have free charge carriers. Anything to conduct electricity should have a charge carrier. My question to you is, salt, which is there in the bottle in your house from which your mom or dad or your cook is cooking, will that salt conduct electricity? No. Because the salt does not have free ion. If you start pouring the salt in water, it starts dissociating into sodium and chlorine. Will it conduct? Yes. Acid, if you dissociate in water, H plus and Cl minus, H plus, SO4 2 minus, it will conduct. So a conductor conducts because it should have a charge carrier. What is the specific charge carrier for a conductor? Free electrons. So who are conductors? Metals are conductors. Why are metals considered as conductor? This we will be, yeah. So this metals conduct electricity. When we talk about metals conducting electricity, later on people will ask you, why do metals conduct electricity? Metals conduct electricity because metals have got charge carriers available with them. And what are those charge carriers? Free electrons. These electrons are also known as delocalized electrons, or we call them cloud of electrons, or we call them garam ho jayega, or we call them sea of electrons. When you will be studying in the next class in chemistry about graphite, in graphite you will see graphite conducts electricity. Diamond does not conduct electricity because diamond, each carbon is bonded with 4 other carbon, so all the 4 electrons are used up. No free electrons. Whereas in graphite, free electrons will be available. Just remember one thing, A substance conducts electricity if it has got a charge carrier. Solids conduct electricity if they have free electrons. What did I say? A substance. Conductor, first we will say conductors are, I'll not restrict myself to metals, I'll say are substances that conduct electricity. Why do they conduct electricity? Because of available charge carriers. Charge carriers. Available charge carriers. Now, since we know that conductors are solids, so in solids, these charge carriers are nothing but electrons. Or rather, we should use the word free electrons. Now we come to metals. Metals are that tribe which are blessed with plenty of free electrons. अब स्टोरी क्लियर हुआ? कंडक्टर वो होता है जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को कंडक्ट करता है. क्यों कंडक्ट करता है? क्योंकि उसके पास चार्ज कैरियर होता है. कंडक्टर सॉलिड को कहा जाता है तो उसका चार्ज कैरियर इलेक्ट्रॉन ही होगा. सर प्रोटॉन क्यों नहीं होता है? प्रोटॉन न्यूक्लियस अपने पास ऐसे पकड़ के रख देता है. प्रोटॉन्स आर नॉट अलाउड टू रोम अराउंड. एंड व्हाट आर दीज इलेक्ट्रॉन्स? द वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन्स ओनली. इट्स अ वॉर गोइंग ऑन, so it's always the BSF and the army who are participating. So these are those valence electrons, and these valence electrons are ones which we call as free, delocalized, pool of electrons, cloud of electrons, sea of electrons. Now in solid, if you pick up something which is a metal, then in metal this pool is abundantly present. So a metal is supposed to be a good conductor of electricity. Now the next question is, conductors, sir, why didn't you say liquid? If it is liquid, I'll not use the word conductor, I'll say electrolytes. Liquids which conduct are known as electrolytes. Do electrolytes have charge carriers? Yes. What are the charge carriers? Ions. Ions are the charge carrier, not electrons. यहां क्लियर हुआ कि नहीं? समझ लो. तो एक बार नोट करना है तो आप नोट कर सकते हैं. कंडक्टर्स में चार्ज कैरियर्स आर इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. कंडक्टर बोले तो सॉलिड. सॉलिड में कौन कंडक्ट करता है? फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. और फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स किसके पास ज्यादा है? मेटल्स के पास, क्योंकि मेटल का बॉन्डिंग ही ऐसा है, मेटालिक बॉन्डिंग. ये आपको पढ़ाया नहीं जाता है, पर आप जान लो मेटालिक बॉन्डिंग में भर भर के फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है, आवारा की तरह घूमते रहते हैं. लेकिन बाहर से जैसी हमने इसमें सिग्नल दे देते हैं, वी गिव इलेक्ट्रिक सिग्नल, these all electrons become dedicated slaves and they start moving, and anything that moves is a current. Don't go into that water, it has a stream, flowing stream. देसी भाषा में क्या बोलते हैं? करंट है, पानी में मत जाओ. करंट मतलब बह रहा है कोई एक चीज. एयर करंट, विंड करंट, वाटर करंट. क्लियर हुआ? We don't discuss about liquids in this chapter. So small recap, whatever we studied from grade 10 perspective. What is charge? A charge is a fundamental property of matter. Charges are of two types. ये पूरा एक काल्पनिक जैसा स्टोरी है, ऐसा समझ के रखो. ये काल्पनिक स्टोरी है. Charges are of two types, positive and negative. Charges are quantized. That means you can have either one charge, two charge, three charge, four charge. क्या हो गया बेटा? हाँ, चार्जेस आर ऑफ वन टाइप. लगा ना? इसको बोलते हैं डिस्ट्रैक्शन. मैं 1 घंटा बना रहा हूं, मुझे तो पानी की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. क्यों नहीं? तुम मत पियो तो ये पानी छोड़ दो. ऐसे ही तुम अपना कंसंट्रेशन बढ़ाओ, छोड़ दो. मरोगे नहीं पानी नहीं पीने से. आई नो आई एम बीइंग हार्श. That too you have gone with the wrong bottle. Oh yeah, see, the whole pleasure goes away. This is what Sarthak I'm keeping on telling you. It's not even how many minutes we have. Hardly 30 minutes. 30 minutes में तुम तो बात भी नहीं किया. मैं तो बात ही करते रहा. मुझे पानी की जरूरत नहीं पड़ रही है, तुम्हें क्यों पड़ रही है? प्रॉब्लम है कुछ, ज्यादा पर्सपिरेशन होता है. मत पियो, छोड़ दो उस पानी को. अमूल्या, तुम इधर ध्यान दो. हाँ, तुम फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन नहीं हो, ठीक है? इधर ध्यान दो. कोई कुछ रिवाइज कराए, जाते हो कैमरा हिला देते हो, ये करते हो, फिर उनको डिस्टर्बेंस करते हो. हाउ सेल्फिश एंड मीन यू गाइस आर यार. First time I've told you this will be a tough chapter for you. This is because you have no practical knowledge of what we are going to study. तुमसे एक टॉर्च खोल के लाइट जलाना नहीं आएगा, इसलिए तुम्हारे लिए ये चैप्टर बहुत मुश्किल है. कल जब फॉर्मूलाज बदलेंगे ना, आप समझ ही नहीं पाओगे गेम किसके बीच में हो रहा है. प्लीज अटेंशन दीजिए. राइट, सो ask yourself these questions right now. Do you understand what is a charge? Do you understand what is types of charge? Do you understand the thing called charge is quantized? Charge is quantized. Okay? Do you understand charge, types of charge, charge is quantized? Do you understand the concept of charge carriers? और कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आएगा अभी पूछिए मुझे. Then do you understand something called metallic bonding? Okay. Then do you understand delocalized electrons? There are other words to it which are known as free electrons, or we can also say sea of electrons. Sea of electrons. Do you understand this? Then do you understand that what is a conductor? And when you talk about conductor, all you should think about is solid, solid, solid. And in solid also you would be specifically talking about metals, because metals have plenty of this. Yeah. Anything that you don't understand, we can discuss. Bolo beta. Charge carriers. Anyone else has any query? इस पूरे लिस्ट में बोलो. Metallic bonding. और किसी को कोई query है? Quantized. Okay. Do we know what is a charge? Fundamental property of matter. Charges are of two types: positive charge and negative charge. Charge is quantized means charge comes in integral multiple. If you go to the market and buy, it's like eggs. Give me 1 egg, 2 egg, 1.5 egg, no one can sell you. Got it? So charge is quantized. You can only add on charges in integral multiples. So rather you can say that if charge is denoted by something called Q, right? And we have never seen charge. What do we see? We see bodies. We see body, and the bodies carry charge. Do you understand? The bodies carry charge. So this body can carry how much of charge? Either positive or negative, integral multiples of Q. Q is the one fundamental. Integral multiples of Q. 1Q, 2Q, we don't know. So in the case of, if your plus Q's, if somebody has only plus Q's, positively charged body. If somebody has only negative Q's, negatively charged carry. Neutron has nothing, so it is neutral. And someone has got 5 plus and 5 negative, he is also neutral. Please understand, that's the case of all the atoms. Sodium 281 has got 11 protons, 11 electrons. When you see sodium in that beautiful shadi.com chart, that is the periodic table, how many electrons sodium has here? 11. How many protons? 11. Neutral. Neutral. But this fellow will lose that 1 electron. So it becomes a charge. So charge is quantized. Zoe, did you understand? Charge carriers. Somebody asked about charge carriers. Who asked charge carriers? You. Charge carriers means, since we have not seen charge, all we see are charged bodies who carry charge. So one of the charged bodies that with which we will go ahead with this chapter is electron. Why? Because in every bonding, it's the electron that gets transferred. Protons never get transferred. Protons are like the ducklings and the mother duck has held them. And electron में भी कौन से? वो जो बाहर वाले हैं, outermost. What do we call them? Valence electron. और अंदर वालों को क्या बोलते हैं? Bound electrons. Bound electrons नहीं, सिर्फ valence electrons. They are our charge carrier. So in this chapter, electrons will be our charge carrier. If we shift our mindset to chemistry, ions will be our charge carrier. What type of ions? Cations and anions. तो यहाँ एक चीज होता है, यहाँ हमारे पास सिर्फ ब्लू डार्ट है, लेकिन इलेक्ट्रोलाइट के पास डीटीडीसी ब्लू डार्ट दोनों है. दो टाइप ऑफ चार्ज कैरियर्स है, हमारे पास सिर्फ एक टाइप. बिकॉज वी आर स्टडिंग conductors. Conductors means solid, solids means metals. Okay, now he has asked about metallic bonding. Question arises, when you take a piece of metal, a metal has got a solid, rigid, hard shape, है ना? मेटल का अपना फिक्स शेप रहता है, फिक्स, ये सब पढ़े हो आप, फिक्स वॉल्यूम, फिक्स शेप. So something forces are holding, and what is metal? Metal is a piece of matter. Go back to kinetic theory. Matters are composed of elementary particles called atoms. These atoms are strongly held with each other. Who is holding them? Metallic bond. Metallic bond में क्या होता है? Every metal is electropositive by nature. What is electropositive? The metal by default will lose its valence electron. So it becomes a positive ion. And the electrons that it is losing, these electrons all become like orphan childs in an orphanage. So the entire piece of conductor is an orphanage where a lot of orphan children are there, and the parents are the metal ions. None of the parents are able to identify, क्योंकि बच्चे सब बड़े हो गए हैं. मेरा बच्चा कौन था नहीं पता, ना ही बच्चों को पता है कौन पेरेंट है. So that is a sea of negative electron. Think it something like a Fevicol. One Fevicol and all bits of paper. What are the papers? Metallic ion, metallic ion, metallic ion. और उसके ऊपर तुमने Fevicol डाल दिया है. Fevicol is the sea of electron. Bonding हो गया? That is metallic bonding. And these Fevicols, which are delocalized, if they sense an external current, they straightaway become aligned and they start flowing. That we will study, and that constitutes the current. So delocalized you have understood. So conductor solid metal. ठीक है. और इस मेटल में अगर हम बात करें तो याद रखिएगा सिल्वर इज द बेस्ट कंडक्टर. In fact, all the laptop motherboards and everything are all silver soldered. All, whether you find it, silver is the very good reflector of light, the best reflector and the best conductor also. Therefore, whenever all these satellite parts and other things fall, you get a lot of silver in them. ठीक है, वापस चार्ज में जाएंगे अभी. Now charge. So we have not seen charge, but we have to associate charge with something called an SI unit. The SI unit of charge is called coulomb. Coulomb. Coulomb is the name of a scientist, and after that we have given the name coulomb. And coulomb is denoted by capital C. The SI unit of charge is coulomb. So what is the base fundamental charge that can be available in this universe? 1 coulomb. And since charges are of two types, we associate plus and minus. See, this plus and minus don't go by algebraic manner. This plus and minus is like vectors in they just like, sir मतलब 5 न्यूटन का थप्पड़ मारा और -5 न्यूटन, चोट किस में लगेगा? भूतनी के दोनों में एक ही चोट लगेगा, एक इस गाल पे लगेगा, एक उस गाल पे लगेगा. डिफरेंस उतना ही है. So +1 coulomb and -1 coulomb in terms of intensity is same, just the polarity is different. Okay. Now, as I said, none of us have seen charge, but we will associate it only with the charge carrier. We have not seen the virus, but we have seen a ill vivan. So we have to now quantify. How do we quantify the virus? So vivan is a fundamental property which is there in every atom, electron. So please associate some amount of virus with him, and that's how we will get the measure of that virus. So we say 1 electron carries a charge of magnitude 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This figure you have to remember. Similarly, 1 proton also carries a charge which is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Now, if you are worried about, now many children will say, sir, in that book it was written minus, you said plus. Plus and minus is just to show polarity. Now I am using my red pen. Just because electron is a negative entity, this charge is said to be negative 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Magnitude wise, both the charges are same. ठीक है? 1.6 10 to the power minus 19. कुछ फिगर्स आपको याद होने चाहिए. Mass of an electron 9.1 10 to the power minus 31. Mass of a proton 1.6375 10 to the power minus 27. इतना तो याद रहना पड़ेगा, फंसोगे. ठीक है, चले आगे. Is this clear? Now talk goes further on conductors and then we'll end it. फिर खत्म हो जाता है. ये थोड़ा सा दादीमा stories. Now we go on conductors. Now tell me, do you understand what is a conductor? Substance that conducts electricity. It conducts electricity because a conductor is always said to be solid, and a solid has delocalized electrons, which is sea of electrons, and among solids, metals have the highest number of delocalized electrons. And since we are talking about current electricity, we will be, now you can open it. Since we are talking about current and electricity, we will be concentrating only in terms of metals only. क्योंकि हमारे घर में जो वायरिंग हुआ है, we have not done it through plastic or anything, we have done it only through copper, or in a laptop we have done it through silver. ठीक है? So conductors can again be of two types: good conductor and a bad conductor. ठीक है? A good conductor is one which conducts well. That's your grade 8 statement. So here what will you say? A good conductor is one which has plenty of free electrons, and we will call it as an excellent conductor. So अगर आपको वायर बनाने का इच्छा हुआ तो आप किससे बनाओगे? आप मेटल से ही बनाओगे. तो यहाँ पे जब बात हो रही है ना बेटा, ज्यादातर हम बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे सॉलिड्स की बात कर रहे हैं, एंड सॉलिड्स में भी वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मेटल्स. जब हम गुड कंडक्टर की बात करते हैं, वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट दोज मेटल्स which will have a lot of free electrons. In those, like if you go to market, silver wire is very costly. Then thieves will be more interested in taking out wire from the. Then you can say, sir, why do networks don't have silver? Silver लगाने से pilferage होगा, चोरी होगा. Plus silver is highly malleable and ductile. गर्मियों में silver के वायर नीचे लटक जाएंगे. See, there are all pros and cons associated. Then another material which is a very good conductor of electricity is aluminum. You can, many people write aluminium or aluminum is same, but aluminum में एक problem है. Aluminum is an excellent conductor of electricity. Many times in internal wirings also we use it, but aluminum is very brittle. जैसे ही आप वायर को घुसा के सॉकेट में टाइट करेंगे ज्यादा ना, टक करके टूट जाएगा. So have you seen like when the entrance of Pebble City Road, when that big palatial building and all were being made, you'll see wooden reels are kept which have got wire cables on them. Black color wired cables will be there, and those are in wooden reels. Those wire cables are actually all aluminum cables, and the word we use for those cable, we say three core armored cable. Armored cable means, now you have to understand this. 3 core means inside black there will be 3 different strands. The colors are usually RGB, red, green and blue, big. Those are again rubber. Inside them will be these aluminum. Now I told you aluminum is brittle, so if you hang the wire from here to here just like a closed wire, टूट जाएगा ये. Armored का मतलब है when the aluminum cable runs like this, to give it support, we will have an iron cable also which will run with it. Fracture होता है, स्कूल में गिर गया, I have to go to the hospital. Till you go to the hospital, the bone will shake. दर्द होगा तो क्या करेंगे? The best is put your wooden scale below it. That is called armored. So you are giving an armored and taking it. Till you put the no, dupatta is the sling. Dupatta is the sling. The whole thing needs to be on something. Have you seen when little fingers and all this cricket खेलते वक्त fracture होता है, they will have small scale जैसा चीज होता है. Like have you seen that chocobar खाने से जो आता है ना, जिससे डॉक्टर आपका जीभ देखता है, reuse नहीं करता है, फेंक देता है. So those sort of hard things are available. They'll put it here and then tie your finger. That's called armored support. तो ये वायर को armored support देना पड़ेगा. इसीलिए एल्यूमिनियम वायर में खर्चा बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि ये जो आयरन जा रहा है इसका कोई यूज नहीं है, It is only and in say in we Bengalis, I'll not say in Maharashtrians, because Ganpati idols that are made, those are made by POP. In our Durga Puja, the idols are all made up of what? Mud, clay. So initially they will make a thatch, सूखे घास का एक स्ट्रक्चर बनेगा, which will be like an effigy. So armored, वही armored support जा रहा है. ठीक है? Similarly, if you see network cables which are called as Cat6 cables, like these cables are Cat6. Cat6 cables में कैसा रहता है? The wires are very thin, इनको ऐसे छोड़ देंगे तो थोड़ा ऐसा ऐसे होने से ही टूट जाएगा. So there is a plastic skeleton which runs inside, and on that skeleton the wires go. So that's called an armored cable. ठीक है? So we have this. Now these are very good conductors. So we never prefer this. We never prefer this. Generally we will be preferring for our घर का connections के लिए हम कॉपर यूज करते हैं. और कॉपर वायर महंगा होता है. कॉपर वायर काफी महंगा होता है और अच्छे क्वालिटी का. नाउ कम्स बैड कंडक्टर्स. बैड कंडक्टर्स आर दोज व्हिच हैव लेस ऑफ free electrons. Sir, these are also metals. These are also solid. Something like say iron. Iron, I won't say it's a bad conductor. Bad means it is not as good as a conductor like him. Relatively not. Bad conductor does not mean आप शॉक नहीं खाओगे. शॉक इसमें भी खाओगे. ठीक है? या फिर जिंक का वायर हो गया. इनके वायर्स नहीं बनते हैं. We don't use iron wires for electrical conductivity. अच्छा वायर नहीं है, इसके पास उतने फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स नहीं रहेंगे. ठीक है? So there, so don't write bad conductor means in earlier days used to have a concept bad conductors do not conduct electricity. No, bad conductors do conduct electricity, not as good as this. And from safety perspective, sir, will I die here? Super death. Here तरफ के but still death. Still death. जिंक की बकेट को पकड़ के अगर शॉक लगाया आराम से मरोगे और यहां पता भी नहीं चलेगा कैसे मर गए. ठीक है ना? अब आता है सर किसमें मरेंगे नहीं, उसका भी तो एक नाम होना चाहिए. वो इसका ऑपोजिट है, उसको हम कहते हैं इंसुलेटर्स. इंसुलेटर्स आर दोज व्हिच आर सेड टू बी व्हाट? दे हैव नो फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. नो फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. बेस्ट इज प्लास्टिक एंड एक्रिलिक. प्लास्टिक एंड एक्रिलिक. एक मिनट रुको, एक चीज ले आता हूं तो आप और अच्छा समझोगे. जस्ट गिव मी 1 minute. दे आर कॉल्ड प्लास्टिक्स और एक्रिलिक. They call plastics or there will be called acrylic. Then cotton. Cotton is also a very absolutely an insulator. It will not allow. But plastics, bakelite, you can write bakelite. Bakelite पढ़ा था grade 8 में. Bakelite नहीं पढ़ा था. Metals and switches बनाते हैं. Polycarbonate. These are all polycarbonates. Bakelite. So this is a typically see, like when we get a tester, we get it in this manner. This is still not that safe. This part is, what is this part? Plastic. काम करते करते अगर इलेक्ट्रिकल, this is also a tester, so a light will also glow here. Will show you also. अगर आपका हाथ यहाँ लग गया, you get photo. So this is a bigger tester. The smaller testers will have yellow colors out here, which is the protective sheet. So how does the wiring in wiring we say, if you want to light up a bulb, say this is a bulb. I want to light this up. These two wires should go and sit on these 2 points. These 2 points. Then circuit is completed. It will light up. So we'll learn these things. इसको हम अर्थ बोलते हैं, इसको हम लाइफ बोलते हैं, इसको न्यूट्रल बोलते हैं. The entire potential is coming here. If you touch this with your naked hand, no shock. Touch this with your naked hand, no shock. छू लिया, चला गया. The tester will glow only when I put here. बट ये 2 वायर तो नहीं हुआ. इसमें वायरिंग कैसा होता है? ऐसा रहता है. दिस इज द टेस्टर. देन इनसाइड द टेस्टर देयर विल बी द बल्ब. Bulb is being then handled by me, and me, I am on the ground. Circuit is completed. In fact, what am I wearing right now? Slippers. I am wearing slippers. I am going to show you right here. Observe the amount of glow on this tester when I put it here. You are hardly seeing any glow. If you see, there is a feeble glow. Do you see? यहाँ पे LED glow है, देखो. ठीक है ना? अब देखो मैं जूता खोल दे के I'll put my leg on the ground. Do you see? So it's giving you better connectivity. So when you're working on electricals, if the electrician is opening his shoe and coming inside your house, you are being very selfish about your house cleanliness. Don't do that. Let him come with his shoes only. In fact, more electricity. He's without what? He's without a shoe. Just see how electrocution happens. Now the glow is very feeble. I am wearing this. You touch me. Look at it. Do you see that? Now this is an online. We can't show it. Just छू के देखो. Because वो naked पाँव में. अब तू एक पाँव उठा ले और इस पाँव में चप्पल डालो ये. उस पाँव को पैर से उठा दो और किसी को मत छुओ. उस पाँव को एयर में रखो. हाँ, सिर्फ ग्राउंड में रहो. Be on ground with rubber. You don't touch that table. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. खोलो भी जूते को. दूसरा पाँव लगा दो. It will increase. So this is how it goes. So in fact, when we work in plants, when we work in electrical plants and all, we are given safety shoes, and the safety shoes have got such type of rubber padding कि आप वो means that was my fun part in my engineering intern when I was doing my internship in Gale. The first thing I got is they gave me safety boots, and they all were like as if I have got some action का जूता. वो safety boot पहन के मैं सबसे पहले घर में आके I am touching all live wires. But one thing, while touching that live wire, as long as you are on the safety boot, nothing happens to you. If you touch the wall with the other hand, immediately you will get electrocuted. So with that, before we end today's class, see this chapter is very interesting. आप ये देखो, ये पिजन ये सबको शॉक क्यों नहीं लगता है? कोई कहता था बचपन में, सर पिजन इज अ बैड कंडक्टर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. ऐसा नहीं है. जैसे कोई इंसुलेटर नहीं है. ये देखो, if you see a wire system of any pole, it's called a three phase 4 wire system. 3 phase 4 wire means there is a voltage in this, there is a voltage here, there is a voltage here also. 3 phase and 1 neutral. तीनों में आ रहा है पूरा, इसमें नहीं आएगा. How does the pigeon know किस में आ रहा है किस में नहीं? Pigeon happily यहां बैठता है. ओके, कुछ नहीं होएगा. सर्किट कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ ना. पिजन के बॉडी में करंट घुस के निकलना पड़ेगा. करंट हैज टू गो. नाउ लेट अस रिप्लेस द पिजन. सुनो, लेट अस रिप्लेस, अभी हंसोगे. लेट अस रिप्लेस द पिजन एंड लेट अस ब्रिंग, यहाँ पे पिजन छोड़ के यहाँ अमूल्या को लटका दो. कुछ नहीं होएगा unless he pees from here and pee falls on ground. Then immediately it will electrocute. Then 3 idiots और 3 नहीं, you are all grown up. अभी देखो 3 idiots में भी ट्रिक है. पहले इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज के रैगिंग में ये सब करवाता था. मेडिकल में पिस ऑन हीटर वायर. हाँ, ये सब कॉमन रैगिंग होता था बॉयज हॉस्टल में. दे ट्राई टू, चिल्ड्रन आर ऑल हैविंग फन में गड़बड़ी हो जाता है ना. सो व्हाट दे यूज्ड टू सी वेदर यू हैव द दिमाग और नॉट. हियर यू शुड डू क्वांटाइज्ड पीइंग. मतलब पीस को छोड़ के यू अगेन लॉक योर पीस so that there is no connectivity between your body and the heater as long as the piece is falling. Then circuit is broken ना. ये चीज देखते थे वो लोग. लेकिन ये सब में क्या होता था, एक्सीडेंट्स हो जाते थे. लड़का तो मारपीट, देखो एक तो मारपीट हो रहा है, घबरा रहा है. तो 3 Idiot में the wrong thing he did is he had a continuous pissing on that particular spoon. Circuit completed. अगर वो पिस को छोड़ो बंद करो करके करता ना, तो ये शॉक नहीं लगेगा. Yeah, that's it. You have to. अब अभी आप इसको ऐसे पढ़ रहे हो, आप कल बायो पढ़ोगे, जो पढ़ोगे. First of all, have your head proper to understand what is happening. Where the wire is, the pigeon. Now another question. If the pigeon tries to fly and by fluttering its wing touches here, roast हो गया. यही बैट्स का होता है. Bats cannot see in the dark. Do you see bats लटकोफाइड on electrical wire is a very common scene in village. लोग कहते हैं चमगादड़ लटक गया. Bats use ultrasound to detect their obstructions. So both the obstructions are at the same place. Bat इसको एक ही obstruction देखता है कभी कभी, और आके जब बैठता है, very evident chance. Have you heard crow getting electrocuted? बहुत कम. मंकी के साथ हो जाता है. अभी आपको इंस्टाग्राम रील्स में भी आएगा मंकी कभी ऊपर चढ़ता है, टेल बड़ा है ना, टक्कर के दूसरे में लग गया तो हो गया, शॉक लग जाएगा. बट इन केस ऑफ क्रोज, बर्ड्स, नथिंग विल हैपन. व्हाट इज द रीजन? एंड दीज वायर्स आर फार अपार्ट, क्वाइट फार अपार्ट, एंड अ क्रोज सर्कुलर दिस थिंग इज नॉट दैट मच. वेयर इज अ बैट का ना बहुत बड़ा रहता है. बैट आया, चपक गया, आपने किताब उताब बंद कर दी? ये मेंटेलिटी रहेगा तो ये चैप्टर मुश्किल होगा। मैं बार बार बोल रहा हूँ, चैप्टर को 1 घंटे के हिसाब से मत देखिए। सो वी लर्न अबाउट कूलम, वी लर्न अबाउट टाइप्स ऑफ चार्जेस, एंड मुझे क्या शौक पड़ा था आपको ये ला के दिखाने के लिए, या आपको ये दिखा रहा हूँ कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी फ्लो करने के लिए करंट हैज टू फॉलो अ क्लोज पाथ. इट हैज टू एंटर योर बॉडी, get out from here. The current got out through his body. That's why when one person is electrocuted, don't show brotherly love and try to save him by holding him. स्टिक लेके मारो, जो मारो उसको छुओ मत. छू दोगे तो आप भी लटक जाओगे. People say electricity is dangerous. I rather say play with electricity once you know about it. If you don't know, don't play. And you students should be more cautious and interest से इसको पढ़ो, क्योंकि I don't know how many of you people were in Pebble at that time. We had a bad incident on this. हाँ, so now you should be more aware कि यहाँ क्या होना चाहिए था. How, that's where your knowledge comes. क्या उस दिन गलत हुआ था? What should not be done? Tomorrow when you buy a house, what should be there? You should be only knowing about it. ठीक है? So what are insulators? Insulators do not have any sort of free electrons in them at all. तुमने सब किताब ही बंद कर लिया हो, चलो फिर बंद कर दो. हाँ, अजीब हो यार, मैंने बोर्ड बंद नहीं किया, तुमने किताब. You got up also? You take water with bag on your shoulders. Anyway, children, when I will close.